Managing a successful and profitable automotive company is not an easy task in and of itself at all. However, managing 20 brands of profitable car makers all together under one umbrella is all that much harder, probably 20-fold harder. But Geely is doing exactly that, so that's why today we're gonna dive into Geely. I will tell you everything about our potential outlook in the chart, so ways for you as an investor to profit big out of Geely, and we'll also take a little look on their history and to their model portfolio, so stay tuned, we're jumping right in. Hello and welcome to another video by HKCM Global. My name is Joe and today we are already in part 6 out of 6 of our Chinese car makers series, China taking over. And if you haven't seen any of the previous parts of this series, like this one or this one or this one, I'd highly recommend you checking out those videos because they're not only educational and of course huge value for you as an investor, but also I believe quite entertaining. All of them incredibly interesting companies, and one of the wildest ones we'll be taking a look at today. We're gonna dive deep into Geely, and there's also a special reason why I chose those 5 companies. So all of those 5 companies are companies where we provide a daily market analysis for. So we have over 200 companies that we analyze on a daily basis. So should I say values, there's also commodities, cryptocurrencies in there, and all of those companies we've been tracking for years. So that's why we have quite a good idea where these companies are probably going to be headed from here onwards. And if that sounds interesting to you as an investor, down there in the description, as always, there's a link taking you to our website where you can check out 200 markets where we provide those analyses on a daily basis. However, today, hi there, it's Joe with great news. We've just unlocked 3 powerful features in your HKCM Global dashboard. Let's dive right in. We've got short positions with transparent entry zones, stop loss guidance, and profit targets. Next up, technical indicators, MACD for trend momentum, RSI for identifying overbought or undervalued markets, and momentum squeeze for spotting potential breakouts. And rounding out the list, our analysis calendar and earnings tracker. So your new weekly structure includes a clear release schedule for your analyses, plus up-to-date earnings dates organized by your analysis packages. But here's the best part. For a limited time, we're offering 20% off all our products, whether it is stocks, cryptos, commodities, or indices. Just use the code FEATURES20 to redeem your discount. Log into your HKCM Global dashboard now and start exploring your new features. As you can see today, while I'm recording this video, it's Thursday, the 31st of July, and actually tomorrow on the 1st of August there's the new Geely analysis coming out. You'll probably be seeing this video on Saturday, so one day late, but if you would be a subscriber to our market analysis service, then you would be getting the analysis of Geely together with those other companies tomorrow already, and then following daily updates on all of those other Chinese companies that we have in the China Titans package. But now let's get started with Geely. So Geely is a wild company. So they started off in the early 80s by the founder Li Shufu, another one of those wild, highly successful Chinese entrepreneurs that came out of the 80s and 90s, and there's far too many of them that I have never even heard about before I started preparing for this series. So great rabbit hole to maybe dig into sometime. So in the 1980s, he started a company, and they first focused on refrigerators and general kitchen products. So a household electronics company, if you will. However, in the early 90s, he started producing simple scooters, if you will. And then just a couple of years later, again in the mid 90s, his company Geely was the very first company out of China, first private company out of China that was granted the approval by the Chinese party to produce cars. Because up until this time, the production of cars was only reserved for state-owned and fully state-controlled companies. And with this start then of Geely jumping into the car production, a wild ride began. Because as I just mentioned in the intro, Geely does not only manage one single brand, but they manage plenty. I'm gonna go into that in just a second. But firstly, I would like to show you here a little bit of the development of Geely. And for this, I usually like to take a look at here the market capitalization. So overall, Geely is listed as place 950 of the world's biggest companies by market capitalization. And as you look here on the chart, you can see that in the early 2000s to, well, all throughout the 2000s, all the way up until 2009, there was not really much happening. But from then, it really took off. It really took off, and it was quite a wild ride. Over the last couple of years, again, a bit of stagnation. However, in the very last year alone, we had a 125% increase in market cap. So hugely hugely successful move here in the recent past for Geely. And what I found all that more interesting is if we look at price per earnings, you can see that even though here in this time where market cap was rising steadily, the PE ratio dropped significantly. So right now we're only at a PE ratio of 8.3, which isn't that expensive. Altogether, sounds like great news, but to be honest, I am quite skeptical of the company Geely because I have had to prepare some here because it is really wild. So Geely Auto does not just only manage their own brand of Geely cars, but they also are in full control. So they have full ownership and they call every single shot of the following brands. So Geely Auto. Also Galaxy, so new energy car maker, so they have internal combustion engines, but also hybrid cars and fully electric cars. Rider, they focus on e-pickups. Geometry, another subdivision then of Galaxy. So Galaxy is a subdivision to Geely and Geometry is even a subdivision to Galaxy. Again, fully owned by Geely. Zeekr, high performance premium electric vehicles. Lynk & Co, young and stylish brand that is mostly focused on aspiring young millennials and also Gen Z customers. They hold 80% ownership, so full control over Volvo cars. Yes, Volvo, the traditional Swedish brand that all of you know. They hold 70%, so full ownership and control here of Polestar. They hold 51%, so also full control because they have a majority of all the shares of Lotus, so the traditional sports maker out of Great Britain. And talking about Great Britain, another fully owned brand that's completely 100% owned by Geely is LEVC, so London Electric Vehicle Company. All of those black cabs that you can see driving around London, they have gone electric, and London Electric Vehicle Company is the company that is supplying and producing those cars. Verizon Auto, again 100% owned by Geely, and they make commercial EV vehicles, so imagine trucks, imagine buses, imagine carriers, all of those fun stuff. Then Smart is right now a joint venture, so 50-50 between Mercedes and Geely. Livin Maple, another full subdivision, so again 100% owned by Geely, and it doesn't even stop there. They also have a 49.9 stake in Proton. Proton is the biggest car maker out of Malaysia, and additionally, while they have joint ventures together with Mercedes, they also hold 10% stake in Daimler, so the parental company to Mercedes, and they also hold a 17% stake in Aston Martin, which, to be quite honest, cannot be worth that much because Aston Martin right now is really going down the drain, and I'd be highly surprised if that company is going to be around for much longer. So absolutely wild what Geely has gotten themselves into, and they do not even stop there. So if that wasn't enough, they also are highly involved into battery production, and of course, they develop their very own self-driving technology, so they do not buy the software and the knowledge from elsewhere, but they also develop this all in-house. And also, if all of this wasn't enough still, they're involved in satellite communications and are trying to build up their very own satellite network that is meant to support the full self-driving capabilities of their cars. So if you ask me, I'm a bit skeptical if that is all manageable, or if just Geely has gotten themselves into way too much different projects on way too many different fronts. And that is a question that hopefully the charts will be able to tell us in just a second. But first, as you know from the series, again, we will take a little look into the model portfolio of those car makers. And so starting off with Geely itself, so the parental company to all of these subsidiaries. Here on the website, you can see first of all their SUVs, and that already is super confusing to me because, I mean, look at these cars. If it wasn't for the brand logo here on the front on each of every single one of them, I would have had no idea that those are connected to the same company. Do you know what I mean? Do you see what I see? Every single one of those cars looks completely different. So in my mind, this one here just looks like a Volvo. This one here to me looks like a Honda. I don't know. Is it any better with their sedans? Okay, there's just one sedan, which is a Volvo, to be quite frank. EVs, yeah, okay, pretty much looks like every other EV out there in my mind. But let's give them another chance. Let's maybe take a look at this one here, the Honda Discover More. Why is this guy completely out of focus? Confusing. I don't know. I don't know. Is it just me, or is all of these pictures, are they just kind of cheap looking and I don't know, doesn't look appealing at all to me, this website here. Interior is nice. Interior is nice, to be frank. Nothing to complain there. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of their website here. Let's take a look to another company out of the Geely portfolio. That's Lynk & Co., a apparently young and stylish company that is focusing heavy on interconnectivity and wants to recruit customers, especially out of a younger demographic. So Link, the new 08, okay, apparently that is the name. Let's see what else we got. Our cars, Link & Co. 01, yeah, okay, sure, let's start with the 01, why not? So the Link & Co. 01, yeah, looks stylish, looks nice. I really like this detail here with 2 of the 5 segments here out of the rim being blue. I like it. I think that's a real nice detail here. Hybrid, okay. The simple charging, infotainment, that really looks nice. I do like this interior. Yeah, I mean, if their goal was to be stylish and apply to a younger audience, they're doing a good job in this regard. 4-year warranty. I've seen better, but again, for a rather cheap company, that is quite solid. Let's see what else they got in store. Oh, they have a new 01. Okay, definitely a focus on fun here. I don't see much difference here between this car and the old one because it's all about the fun apparently and the vibe. What can I say? I do like the vibe. I do like the website. I could see myself in one of those, or even better, I can see my wife in one of those for sure. Let's take a look at the 02. Is that any different? Oh, okay. Bold design for sure. Not gonna lie. Not bad. Not bad at all. How much should that thing cost? 35 grand. 35,000 euros. Not that bad. 450 kilometers, 200 kilowatts, 30 minutes charging. Nice. I am quite impressed with Link & Co. So whilst I wasn't at all impressed with the portfolio from Geely itself, I really do like what Link is doing here. So let's take a look maybe at the last car out of their portfolio, the 08. So whilst I really wasn't at all impressed with the cars that Geely itself, the parental company, is producing, I really do like what Link is doing here. Again, bold design, taste is somewhat subjective, but I do like those cars. Maybe not for me myself, but I can see my wife in there perfectly, or also other young people. I think they have quite an appealing case here. Also going for this sunny beach vibes, apparently with all of their marketing. To be honest, I have yet not really understood why Harman Kardon is such a highly regarded sound system maker. I do not think they do a good job of sound systems in cars. I do not like them. Design-wise, great stuff. Great stuff. Also this interior, I do like it quite a bit. Infotainment looks great. So yeah, I mean, design-wise, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. I do not like the rear view though. Profile I liked, front I liked, but the rear view, I don't like it. That's not to my taste. But anyway, let's take a look finally now at the outlook for the company Geely. And as you can see here on the overreaching time frame, we've been tracking Geely for quite some time. And in the grand scheme of things, we have concluded that overall Geely has here finished a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves upward structure into an overreaching wave 1 top, which was established in January of 2021. And ever since Geely has in the peak pulled a correction of almost 80% to the dime, and that is quite a deep and wild correction, not gonna lie. However, we have expected this deep correction here with this ending diagonal into our trading area. You can see here this bluish box, that is a trading area that we put on a chart only if we see a real long-term opportunity to get into the market. And as you can see here, that opportunity was a quite successful one already. Because if we look at it here in all fairness and we will just measure from the very upper limit of the trading area up until current levels, we are already 120% up. And that is in only, we have been here, started this upwards trajectory in August of 24. So in just one single year, we've been up already 120% to current levels. And in the peak, so starting from August 2024 all the way up in the peak to May, so only 9 months, we've been up 140% already. However, what does that mean now for the more imminent time frame? And in the more imminent time frame here, you can see that as of recently, so again for the bigger picture, that has been the top of the wave W here, right? And you can see the very same top here of the wave W here. And ever since, we have been working on this overreaching wave X to finish this long-term correction. Because you can see following here this C wave, we conclude that we are now working on a WXY wave to complete the overreaching wave B here for Geely. And that would then mean, of course, that whilst we have right now completed an A, B, correction so far. We are right now working on the final leg down here in the C wave. And out of this final leg here for the C wave, we have so far concluded a 1 wave count down and a wave 2 counter corrective move inside our target zone, which by now is also has successfully been left by 7% already to the downside. So this here is a short target zone, right? So while this trading area here was an opportunity for you to get into the market, this short target zone here was an opportunity for you to either sell your positions or also to get even into a short position, to not just not lose any money, but also to even make money while the price of Geely is falling. So especially in times of economic uncertainty, a tremendously brilliant way for you as an investor to come out ahead. And so we expect here that in the next move for Geely, we'd be going down at least another 30% from current levels, and only then will we see another counter corrective move here to complete this huge overreaching correction here for Geely in the wave C, to complete then the overreaching wave X. And what will happen from here onwards, again taking you over here to this chart, we would then probably see another huge but still corrective run, a rally if you will here, so a bear rally for Geely to an overreaching wave Y, and only then complete the overreaching wave B top. So still really quite a wild ride ahead for Geely, and that's where our chart analysis also perfectly aligns with my personal opinion on Geely, that it probably is a little much that they have here on their plate to properly manage and swallow. I don't know what the future brings, right? We are analysts and we also have to work with the data that we see in the charts, and at the end of the day, we will never be 100% right. Our job is to be right most of the time with our analysis. Being right 100% of the time with the analysis is an impossible task, which we will not pull off. But I'd be interested to hear from you what you think about the company Geely. Will they do a successful job in juggling so many balls as they're currently doing, or is that just too much altogether? Let me know in the comments. See you in the next one. Take care. Bye bye.